There's a lake just north of Houston, Texas that's gained a ton of notoriety over the last few years for its bass fishing. In fact, the Bassmaster Tour regularly makes stops here. But you know what? There's a little secret about this lake we're going to share in the next half hour. It's loaded with another species of game fish that you're going to love catching. I'm glad you're along with us. This is going to be a lot of fun. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southeast region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hi everyone, I'm so glad you're with us for this week's episode. Coming up in the next half hour, we are going fishing for what I think is the hardest fighting game fish in freshwater. It's a hybrid striped bass. I'm going to explain to you what that is and some techniques that you can use to catch them coming up. And we're going to be joined in the boat by a local guide that knows everything about this place. Now, come on with me. As you can see, we've already got the Nitro Z20 launched, got our rods ready to go, and we are coming to you today from beautiful Lake Conroe, Texas. It's just north of Houston. It's a famous lake for bass fishing, but it's also loaded with several other species, including the hybrid stripers that we'll be targeting. Chris Richardson, along with his brother Michael, are local guides here. They guide all the time. They stay on top of the fish, and they're going to take us out. Chris is going to jump in the boat with us, show us how it's done. It's going to be a lot of fun. While we're doing that, we're taking you around your local region for this week's fishing reports from our expert team of insider reporters for this week's reports, both fresh and saltwater, from right where you live. Right now, we get headed out. Next time you see us, Chris and I will be out hybrid striper fishing. It all gets started now. Back at the studio with your weekend planner.
Hi everybody, these Salooner tables are predicting good fishing both days this weekend. Look for the prime daytime hours to begin at 1:17 on Saturday and 2:20 on Sunday afternoon, with top evening action starting right after midnight on Saturday and 1:42 on Sunday. The sun will rise at 7:03 and set at 7:56. We have a new moon this weekend, so nights will be very dark. Hang with us for freshwater and coastal information from around the region. Plus, Major League Fishing angler Mark Daniels Jr. joins us to answer this week's Ask the Pro question. More in a minute.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lew's. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland, the best in bass and crappie lures, heads to tails. Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades. Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Request our free 2019 fishing guide at orangebeach.com.
There's a couple of floppers right off the bat. There's one, Chris.
Oh, I'm on.
Doubles? All right, we've made it out. Hey everybody, we have made it out onto beautiful Lake Conroe. And
Right at the
Chris
boat.
Richardson and I jumped in the front of the boat here, and we are on some hybrids. Looks like two hybrids about the same size. Let me slip the net under that one for you. There's one.
All right.
In here, let's see if I can get under mine here. There. There's a couple of floppers right off the bat. That didn't take long, did it, brother?
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right, well, we're gonna corral a couple of these fish right here. And I've got a pair of pliers. We have got the perfect day for catching hybrids out here. So there we go. Let me get you oriented here to Lake Conroe. We're gonna put these fish back. Not keeping fish today. This is about a 20,000 surface acre lake. It's 21 miles long, fed by the San Jacinto River. And it's 75 foot deep maximum depth, but average of about 20 feet, something like that. We're in 14, 15, 18 feet, something like that. But Chris, tell us just a little bit about Lake Conroe as far as the population of fish. There's a little bit of everything in here, right?
Yeah, it is. You know, for it being so close to the Houston area, it's kind of a gem of a fishery. There's a great population of crappie, Now white bass hybrids are stocked every year by the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, and it's just a great all-around fishery.
We're going to talk more about the white bass fishery here because a very unusual thing has happened, and we want to talk some more about it. Hopefully we catch a couple of these good whites. Right now we're in a giant school, and you think these are all hybrids?
Yeah, it's mostly hybrids here. They're kind of up in the water column, very active, so it should be good.
We'll show you what they look like on the graph, but they're pretty thick in here, so this could get really good. But a couple of nice hybrids to start with. Got out on Lake Conroe. We had to wait out some thunderstorms today. Sat in the truck for about 3 hours while some bad dudes rolled through. Got a little window of time here. Let's see if we can make good on it right now, but we're off to a good start.
Hey folks, it's time for your Carolinas Report. This week brought to you by the Crazy Sister Marina located on the Marsh Walk in Rolls Inlet. Hey, it's fall. It's right around the corner. You've got to book that trip and get down here. The fishing along the Carolina coast is incredible in the fall. From offshore trolling to bottom fishing to inshore and nearshore reefs, it's incredible. September, October, and into November can be some of the best fishing. Visit crazysistermarina.com and book your trip now. Let's talk about freshwater in South Carolina. You know, the Broad River smallmouth fishery is something that's overlooked by so many people, including myself. We should be talking about it a lot more, but now's the time to get out there and enjoy that Broad River fishery. Whether you're gonna fish that northern area that's up in North Carolina, or if you're gonna fish that area that's down around Columbia, that is an incredible area from Saluda into Columbia. Numerous 3 to 5 pound fish and whopper ploppers, you know, anything like that. Get out there, you can have some incredible action. Watch that water level. If you can keep up with the water level in the Broad River, when that level gets down and the water flow is not that bad, you can get in there and get your baits down to where the fish are on the Broad River. Whether you fish that section or go up into North Carolina and fish the section up there, we've got some incredible smallmouth fishing here in the Carolinas offered to you. This has been your Carolinas Report brought to you by Crazy Sister Marina. Remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized.
You get the crankbait?
No, that's on the swim bait.
I got one too. Got doubles. Doubles again. 2 of them. Right in that net. We are killing them. Oh my gosh, we are hammering us some hybrid stripers. Well, we're still on Conroe, just north of Houston, Texas. I think he's in the net a little bit. There we go, got him loose. Well, Chris, this is probably the average size for the hybrids here, right? Just you said like 3 to 5 pounds is kind of your average.
Yeah, these are about your average fish. You know, you see really large schools. These are schoolie hybrids is what we call them. So when you get on large schools of them, a lot of them will be this size, about a 3-year-old, 18 to 20-inch fish.
Okay, now we're going to throw these back. We're not keeping them obviously today. You said that there are some bigger ones in here, and you guys have caught them as big as what?
There are, I think, you know, the larger ones that we catch are 7 to 9 pounds, somewhere in that range. Not a lot of double-digit fish, but there are some good size.
These fish, this is a perfect lake for this. They relate to the structure, right? We're fishing a ledge right now. What kind of areas do you typically catch these hybrids on?
Right, so it's very seasonal. So in the cold water winter months, we find them suspended out in open water. In the spring, they'll run just like your white bass, and they'll kind of transition back down the lake. Now we're on the south end of the lake here, and these fish are pushed up on this structure. So we fish a lot of edges and ledges for these.
So the places where you're out like in 30, 40 feet of water and it ledges up to like 10, something like that, those are your prime areas. I think they use those ledges as a backdrop to pin those shad, to herd them, run them up on those upslopes. And it's just a feeding backstop for these fish. So, okay, we've got it going today. Just 2 identical fish. These are the same year class fish and they run together.
Oh, there he is.
Got one?
Got him.
All right, Chris is hooked up. We are back on. There's one.
Ooh, hybrid.
Yeah, we got 2 hybrids again. All right, welcome back everybody. We're still on Lake Conroe. This one's gonna try to get me around the power pole back here. Keep fighting him, Chris. We got them both there. We got them both on this side. You always want to use a net when you're hybrid striper fishing. They have got gill plates that will really rake you, cut you wide open. And they're just a wild fish. They don't tame very easily. Here comes one. There's one of them. Okay, hold that net and I'll see if I can get this one in here too. There he is, right on top. They are wild fish. Here we go. There's two nice hybrids for you right there. Well, in case you're not familiar with hybrid striped bass, they're a cross between a white bass and a striper. So you wind up with the characteristics, the best qualities of both. You wind up with a fish that'll grow bigger like a striper, but one that'll fight hard like a white bass. And hold him up a little higher there. That's just two identical fish. These are the same year class fish and they run together. Here in Texas, they also call them palmetto bass and sunshine bass, depending on which cross it is, which female to which male. But they are the hardest fighting fish in fresh water. We'll let both of these fish come back.
These are the palmetto cross.
They are, which is the female white?
Female striper and male white bass.
Female striper, male white bass, palmetto. They stock them here, and really, Chris, you guys have kind of got a little hidden secret down here. This lake doesn't get the notoriety and the publicity and all the coverage that a lot of hybrid striper lakes get around the country. This lake really is known for a bass lake. They have big Bassmaster tournaments here, and there's huge largemouth bass in here, but you guys have kind of got a little secret going here.
Yeah, that's right. Lake Conroe's traditionally been a very popular bass lake and crappie lake, but it is an exceptional hybrid fishery as well. It doesn't get a lot of hybrid fishing pressure, and it's a solid fishery.
We're going to give you the contact information if you'd like to book a guide trip here on Conroe. Hybrid stripers are a great fish. They'll also put you on some crappie as well.
Redfish, flounder, tarpon, and a whole lot more fishing action is available along the southeast coast this week. I'll have all the details, but first, this from our good friends at Foreshore Transportation. Foreshore Transportation, the simple solution to all your freight hauling needs. Foreshore can ship freight across the country or across the state. Whatever the load, wherever the destination, Foreshore gets it done fast, safe, and hassle-free. Well, it's August and it's hot, but Captain Tim Cutting out of St. Simons Island, Georgia, said that the redfish are on fire. Tim's catching up to 30 fish a day. He says the best fishing is along the inshore waters around shell bars. The tides have been high. There's lots and lots of bait in the area, and he says the last of the incoming tides have been best. Tim says that the tarpon and king mackerel and Spanish mackerel fishing along the coast of southeast Georgia has been outstanding. Most of these fish are being caught around the sounds and the river mouths. Over in Mississippi, tarpon is still being caught south of the Barrier Islands. There's some very big fish. It's kind of specialized trolling with coon pop lures. Captain Robert Brody out of Mississippi also says that he's been crushing good-eating ground mullet and white trout. He's catching up to 200 fish a day. That's an awful lot of fish to take home. And Robert says that he's catching bonus redfish and flounder at black drum too. He says the Mississippi Sound area is loaded with bait, and that's why the fishing has been so good. In Alabama, trout and redfish are being caught in their calm water areas of Mobile Bay. Look for clean water, that's the key, and go early in the morning. When the sun gets up, triple tail is what's on fire in Mobile Bay along the Alabama coast. Well, that's it for the southeast coast. Get out in the water and take a youngster with you when you go.
Buck Sports Outdoors is brought to you by MotorGuide's wireless and easy-to-use XI3. WAYPOINT Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist. Strike King, tie one on. Nitro Performance Fishing Boats, because champions aren't born, they're made.
There's one. Oh man, that one blasted it. There's a little bit better one. There's one. Oh man, that one blasted it. Holy cow, that's a bigger blow up right there. Hey everybody, we're still out here on beautiful Lake Conroe. We've had a bunch of wind come up. I mentioned this is a great day. It's not a great day for fishing, but it's a great day for catching fish. You get a dark, overcast, cloudy day like this. Oh yeah, that's a little bigger, a little better fish. Nope. There he comes. All right, that's a little bit beefier stock. I've got us anchored right now. My XI5 MotorGuide trolling motor's got us held into this wind. Got to be really, really careful. these fish, but there you go. There's a little bit better one. Well, we're fishing another ledge out here. As a matter of fact, there's a little island out here in front of us you can see. There you go, buddy. And we're actually fishing 2 or 3 techniques right now. We're cranking a spoon, and by cranking a spoon, I don't mean we're jigging it off the bottom. We're casting it out there on a big long cast, letting it go to the bottom, and cranking it in real fast, pushing our button, let it go back down, crank it again. That's one technique. We're also using a Strike King 5XD crankbait and cranking it down on these suspended fish, and that's catching some as well. And then we're using a swim bait. You just throw it out there on a long cast and medium retrieve back in and let that tail swim. I'll show you all this gear at the end of the show, but we've actually got several techniques that are working out here.
Hey guys, this week's Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama Report is brought to you by Can Cooker. If you're looking for a fun, tasty, convenient way to prepare food, whether on the go or at home, head over to cancooker.com. Check out their product line. I guarantee you it's going to change the way you prepare food. cancooker.com. I'm going to talk primarily bass fishing this week, but here's the deal. It is pouring outside. I came inside, so forgive me. I got drenched out there trying to get this report, but I ran in here because I wanted to make sure you had some up-to-date information. Right now in this part of the world, look for flat areas with shad on them. In Alabama, a great example would be Gunnersville Lake, where you've got just tons of main lake flats that have a lot of grass, so they've got a lot of cover. Current is a huge plus, but you can identify these places by the surface disturbance of the bait fish. You'll see the birds working. Sometimes you'll see the bass blowing up on them. In Tennessee would be like the upper end of the Cumberland River. There's not a lot of main lake structure, but there's creek mouths that form these little flats where the river butts up to them, and they'll congregate right there. So here's the thing, you want to find bait. Bait is so key right now. Once you find the bait, you take you a topwater, like a walking bait, like a Strike King Sexy Dog, a Sexy Dog Hard Knock, or maybe my favorite, the Strike King Mega Dog. The fish will find you. So go find the bait, you'll find the bass, you'll have a blast. We'd love to see you here. God bless.
Well, we've gone to doing something a little different right now. We've gone to white bass fishing. I want to tell you a story, show you a little bit of something here. And you got one?
Yep.
I got one too. We're in a big school. We can just see them all over the graph. Uh-oh, I'm afraid this is not a white bass. You got a white?
I've got a white.
This is a hybrid. Yeah, that's a decent white. Okay, that'll help us tell the story right here. I'm just gonna flop that one in. Oh. And there's this white bass. So I'm gonna let you deal with that guy for a minute. And I'm gonna deal with this guy just for a second. And I wanna tell a quick story about what's happened to the white bass fishery here at Conroe, and it'll give you a little bit of hope for your fishery. All right, calm down. There's a hybrid. We've been catching those all morning. I mean, we've just been whacking those one right after the next. But this guy, hang on. This guy, I want to tell you the story about. That's just a good solid white bass. That's a good keeper white, real fat, healthy fish. Chris, you said that 3 years ago, the white bass literally went away and you couldn't catch one of those in this lake. What happened?
That's right. The state of Texas was under a severe drought for about 4 years, and we didn't have good flow during the spring. There just wasn't enough rain to have good spawning conditions for the fish.
Well, and you said that it got to a point where literally you almost couldn't catch a white bass.
Right, so they're fast-growing fish with a short lifespan. So over those years, it just decimated the population.
And now what happened?
Well, we've had good spring rains for about 3 or 4 years in a row now, and as you can tell, the population has rebounded back in a big way.
And so you can bring your clients out here now and catch a bunch of those right there. Just good filleting size fish, good eating fish, and you actually said you've caught some great big whites now.
That's right. Yeah, we're starting to see some really big white bass, and our typical trips during the spring into early summer have been limits of fish.
So that just gives you a little hope that where you live, if you have a reservoir, a lake, river system where the white bass literally just go away for a couple of years, don't give up hope. Get a couple of years of those spring rains, a place for those fish to go spawn. They'll come right back. They cycle out quickly. They'll come back just like they have here at Lake Conroe.
You can always watch our latest episode on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Catch up on past episodes and learn about fishing techniques and new gear at our how-to page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for new fishing videos every day. Simply search for Fox Sports Outdoors and click the like button on Facebook and the follow button on Twitter, and watch a new episode every week on any device by downloading the free WAYPOINT TV app on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder, Balls Out, made in the USA, heavy-duty mounts for your fish finders.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro question, where we get a chance for insight from professional anglers. This week, Doug wants to know, when you are not bass fishing, what is your favorite kind of fishing to do? For the answer, we checked with MLF angler Mark Daniels Jr.
I love getting out on the Pacific Ocean, because of course I'm from California originally. I love fishing for a species of fish called rockfish. And they're kind of like grouper, but smaller, and we have several different species of them back home on the West Coast. And what's cool about them is you can fish for them just like you fish for bass. So I use like jigs, I use swim baits, and you cast them out, but we're talking like 100, 150 foot of water, and they hit so hard, man. And it's so awesome because you get that same sensation when you're bass fishing, but you're catching fish like every other throw. So it's that's definitely one of my favorite things to do.
Thank you, Mark. If you have a question to ask one of the pros, just visit our website, click on the Ask the Pro link, and let us know. Now let's see who wins this week's Big Catch of the Week.
We've made it back to the boat ramp at Lake Conroe, and it's time right now for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. He is Greg Roten of Kingsport, Tennessee, with an 8.3-pound hybrid striper he caught out of Cherokee Lake in Tennessee. If you'd like to be our next winner, just go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Fox Sports Outdoors. Go to our Tuesday post and click comment, add your big fish onto the comment along with the information we request on where the fish was caught, your name, your city, all of those particulars, and you just might be our next winner. Next up on the gear segment, I want to show you 3 important components we use today to catch the hybrid stripers and the white bass. First of all, the baits we used. The bottom is the Jean LaRue Sweet Swimmer. It's a perfect sized swim bait. I rigged it on a 1/2 inch lead head. Then that's a normal 3/4 ounce chrome jigging spoon, and then above that is a crankbait. That's a Strike King 5XD crankbait. It dives deep, does a great job of catching hybrids. Also, I want to show you some graph shots. This is my Lowrance HDS live. We took some great shots of the side scan. We would drive around, find these pods of hybrid stripers. You can see them right here in the highlighted area of our screen. That's what they look like. Once we found them, we would circle around those, drop our trolling motor, and begin casting toward the pods. I saw a good quote the other day that says we need to enjoy the here and now rather than documenting it for the there and later. I talked to a lot of fishing guides who take many clients fishing for one reason and one reason only. They want to catch a fish, take a picture, and put it up on social media, and then they're ready to go home. You know, doing that is fine. There's nothing wrong with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and saving those memories so that we can go back and relive them. But somewhere we may be losing it. At some point in the outdoors or while fishing, we need to stop, bask in it, soak a little bit, enjoy the moment so that we can remember those stories to pass along to kids and grandkids to be enjoyed for future generations. Stop, soak it in, look, and remember, and then put it up on social media. Hey, thanks for joining us today from beautiful Lake Conroe near Houston, Texas. If you'd like to book your own guide trip to this location, you can contact either Michael or Chris Richardson at the contact information you see on your screen. I think you would enjoy coming here for a trip to catch crappie, white bass, hybrid stripers, or even catfish. And I hope you learned a few tips and techniques while we were out there today that may just help you catch a few hybrids at a reservoir or lake near you. We'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.